Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're gonna continue with the magazine, so let's get to it. We are in a very good spot, I would say. Like, we have this very nice handle, the wood handle, the metal bit right here that's looking very tight. We have the main gun barrels over here that are also looking very nice. And now it's just a matter of continuing, right? So I'm just gonna grab these two things and I'm just gonna make a new folder. I'm gonna call this a handle. And just gonna move both of them there so that we can close the folder and turn the visibility off. Remember, when we append a new object, which in this case is going to be a cylinder, we should be able to work very nicely from here. Now, this is going to be super important, guys. I need to keep the cylinder right here on the center. And actually, no, now that I think of this, because I've done this before and I always mess up, I am going to go up here and I'm going to go into my meshes and I'm going to select a cylinder 3D. And then I'm gonna make this a polymesh 3D, and I'm actually gonna be working the barrel of the gun as a separate tool first, and then we're gonna append it and just scale it so that it fits the proper height and everything. So here I'm gonna rotate this thing around 90 degrees so that we're facing forward, and I am actually gonna smooth this out a little bit because I definitely want this thing to be smooth. Before we do that though, I'm gonna go into my BCM, which is the seam modeler, and I'm gonna bevel this loop a little bit and just copy that same bevel on this backside right there. Why? Because when we control D, I want that corner or the line to be a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna control D a couple of times, as you can see there, like 5 times. You can check my subdivisions here in the geometry tab. So in subdivision level 5, I'm gonna delete the lower ones because we don't need them. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to make sure the edges and everything is very, very nice. So now I'm gonna append a new cylinder. So append cylinder 3D. Select this guy right here. And we're gonna rotate this around. Now, in your references here on your documents, I have this one right here, which is like a cutout of how the proportions should be. However, if I were to get this into the planes, it's gonna mess up with some of the symmetries that I have in mind. So we're gonna have to like guesstimate some of the elements right here. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna make this smaller. Let's turn on transparency so that we can see it. And I would say it's about there. As you can see, yeah, it's right about there where we want the cylinder. And this cylinder is going to be the cylinder that we're going to be using to cut the object in half, right? So let's go back to edit mode, control N, there we go. So I'm going to go R, and then we're going to scale this, not this one, this other one. We're going to scale it so that it goes through the object. Now, we don't want, or I don't want, to have this like segmented lines on the actual like final model. So I'm going to control D again to give a very smooth surface. I don't really care about the cap because they're going to be going through the whole thing. Now, if I grab this guy, I can go C plugin, and we're going to say subtool master, C plugin, subtool master, mirror, and we should be able to mirror on the y-axis to get this on the other side. That's why it was very important to start on a new tool, because if we move things around, then the symmetries won't work exactly as I want. Then I am gonna go into W, which is my gizmo. I'm gonna press Control Alt, and I'm gonna rotate. Actually, I can't do that. So I'm just gonna duplicate this guy. And I'm gonna rotate this 40 or 60 degrees, like that. And then I'm gonna duplicate this again and rotate this another 60 degrees. And as you can see, that's gonna give me the holes that we're going for, the room for the bullets. Now we're gonna turn on live booleans, which we already have in this case, and we're just gonna subtract, subtract, and subtract. And as you can see, we have this super nice clean effect going all the way around our element. So that's exactly what I want. Like, I want to have this sort of effect. I'm gonna go into my options here, the boolean options, and I'm gonna say make a boolean mesh. And there we go. We are gonna have this U mesh over here. Now we want to add, again, if we take a look at the reference, there's this like things that they cut out of the element. I'm not sure if they do it for any specific reason. I'm not sure if there's like something that hits that part or whatever. It just looks really cool. I do know that it helps with the weight, so it's not gonna be as heavy. So we're gonna do those. So I'm gonna append now a sphere, not a cylinder, but a sphere. I'm gonna move the sphere up, make it roughly the size of the holes, right about there, and then move it forward about there. You can see that again in our reference, like guesstimating where this thing is. It's just a little bit further back than the middle line, so it will be about there. And then I'm gonna press Control Shift to go into Control to go into mask correct. I'm gonna mask half of the sphere right about there, and then I'm gonna invert the mask, Control click outside of the object, and I'm gonna push this all the way forward like this, and that should create a very nice like pill shape. I can dynamesh this if I want to keep it like cleaner. That should be fine. And now I need to position this on the exact place right here. However, we have a small issue, and the issue is that you can see that you usually have, especially here in the reference, is the hole, and then in between the holes is where you have this sort of like division. So I'm gonna go here, and I know that if I rotate this, I believe it's 30 degrees, I should find that exact middle section. That's why we need to do this in this specific way, because if you were doing this in another place, then symmetry might not be working exactly as you intend. So this guy we're gonna divide, and we're just gonna center or freeze the transform. Let me make sure you see it. So I'm gonna go to the mask center and return this to like the proper elements. Same for this one. So we're gonna move this down like this so that we like remove pieces and we delete. And look at that, we have that very nice cylinder like inset right there. Now technically, if I were to go here into C plugin and say mirror to the y-axis, I should have, yes, we do. I should have this one on the other side. And now we repeat the same process that we did for the barrel on the last subtool. So I'm just going to say duplicate. We're going to divide that one as well. And very important here, I need to go to unmask center. So I'm going to go on this button right here, click on mask center so that it goes right to the middle there. And we're going to rotate 60 degrees. And we duplicate and we rotate 60 degrees, another 60 degrees. And we divide, and as you can see, we have this very, very nice barrel going through the whole thing. Look at that, beautiful, right? And super simple. Like especially if you did the Pokeball exercise, then using the booleans here shouldn't be that much of an issue. Now you can see that we also have this sort of like weird rectangle slash pill size thingies that we could use to add a little bit more detail. I'm not really sure what they are, but I think they look cool. So we definitely need to add them eventually. So I'm gonna say make boolean mesh, and now we're gonna have this one right here. We're still missing the hole that it has in the center. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna say append, another cylinder 3D. Select the cylinder, make it small, turn on transparency, rotate this around, push it up, and go through it like this. Control D several times so we get a soft transition here. And when we select that as a negative shape, you're going to see that we have the element. And one cool thing about the live booleans, you guys already know about this, we can modify them in real time and see how they look, which in this case, that's exactly what I want. Now, these little things right here, you can see they're all aligned again to the holes. So I'm going to go back to my little circle right here, rotate this again so that it's 30 degrees so that everything is like completely straight. And over here is where I'm going to create this little shape. So it kind of looks like a cube mixed with a sphere. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to append a cube. I'm going to smooth it out because it does look smooth. So it's kind of like going there. It's kind of like a rectangle kind of shape like this. It's not perfectly centered. You can see it's not like exactly on the center. So I'm gonna kind of move it to the side like this. It's definitely not gonna go all the way through. So let's make it thinner. So something like that. And then it has this sort of like, again, like a pill sort of thing. So I'm gonna go append, sphere. Gonna make this sphere smaller. Move it right about there. This square is not as big, so let's make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And then the sphere, it's kind of like this oval shape like this, right? So now we can place those as a like a division right there. Gonna grab this guy. Definitely has to go. Oop. Let's turn it on. Has to go up because we're not gonna. We don't want to have like any weird like surf effect. So it's kind of like matching like that, right? So that certainly feels like it. I think this one's a little bit too thick. Let's make this thinner as well. There we go. I think that looks close to what we have right there. Although the sphere looks more like a cylinder. Like I don't see the caps there. So what can we do here? I know. It's gonna be a little bit more work, but yeah, let's do it. I want to show you guys the proper way to do things. So let's go. So I'm gonna go here with the sphere, and what I'm gonna do is remember the cut brush. So I'm gonna use my knife curve, cut half of the sphere off. There we go. And then with my mask brush, I'm gonna select this half and just push it forward. So we have like this sort of like a cap shape. Dynamesh, of course, to soften this up. Let's give it a couple of divisions. And now we're gonna subtract. There you go. So now the cut, as you can see here, looks a lot cleaner, a lot closer to what we have in the reference. Because on the sphere, actually, doesn't make a difference. I think it's the same, right? I think we just did the exact same thing. We need to have like a square shape on the thing here. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna grab this guy, and I am gonna Control D or Control Alt and drag to create a new copy. Can we do that? Oh, we need to remove the subdivision. So let's delete lower. Control Alt and move it around. So now we have a second box, and I'm gonna use this box to kind of like cut around the sphere's influence right there. Can I do that? No, it's not looking exactly like it should. I think that's fine. Let's leave it like that. It doesn't look bad. I was wondering if we could like maybe cut that thing, but we would need a more specific shape. And it's such a small detail that we're not even gonna notice. I actually think it's a little bit too deep though, so I'm gonna use the cube and just move it forward. And same for the sphere. So let's push it forward. There we go. That looks a little bit closer to what we see in the reference, right? So that's just a little bit of a mark there. Now I am definitely gonna grab this guy and merge down. So merge down. Okay. And this one we can't mirror, because if we mirror, all of them are gonna be looking at the same side. So we're gonna have to do a different like approach here. And the approach that we're gonna do is we need to bring the point, or bring the gizmo to the axis, as you can see there. So I just press this little house, so it goes right to the world, to the origin of the world. And then I'm gonna press Control Alt and rotate, and we're gonna rotate 60 degrees. You're gonna see that one right there. Or actually, it didn't work the way I was expecting. That's fine. Let's just duplicate and then rotate 60 degrees, and then that one's gonna be minus, of course, and then duplicate, rotate 60 degrees, minus, duplicate, rotate 60 degrees, minus, duplicate, rotate 60 degrees, minus, and one final duplicate, rotate 60 degrees, and minus. And there we go. So now we have that little effect over there. We're missing the first one though. That's weird. So let's duplicate. There we go. And minus. So now every single indentation should have that little detail, which is this one that we're seeing right there. Okay. So now we make another Boolean mesh. Make Boolean mesh. And there we go. We have this a U mesh, which is the final barrel of our gun, ready to be used. Now, this is not a workable topology. You can see that the topology is a complete mess. If we wanted to use this for a game, we will have to either retopologize or remesh this in such a way that it works. However, since it has these details, I would strongly encourage you guys to try and retopologize this, either here inside of ZBrush or inside of Maya. Any of the softwares will work. But let's go back to our gun, which is the main actor, the main start of this whole thing. Let's turn everything on here. Let's turn on our grids. Oh, where's the grid? There we go. And now we're going to say append, and we're going to append at the last U mesh that we have, which is this one right here. And now, of course, it's a matter of scaling. So we're just going to scale this to its proper size. We should be able to match pretty perfectly, I would say. Like, look at that. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing, right? So yeah, that's it. I mean, we perfectly matched the barrel here for the gun. And I would say we're in a very, very good position. Like, you can see that the amount of polygons that we're getting is becoming bigger and bigger. But the object, being it's not a super complex object, but it's starting to look a lot like the final result that we're going for. So I think we're in a very good position here, guys. I'm gonna stop the video right now. And in the next video, before we jump into the final part, which is going to be the housing, like all of this elements right here, I think doing the hammers will be better, just because we're going to have some shapes that are going to be useful for the final elements, okay? So we're going to go do the hammer and the little trigger right here, super easy shapes, and then we'll jump onto the final part, which is the main body of the gun. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.